Hello and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Mike J, and this is the Nerdcast, where we try to just shoot the shit about things that are going on in our popular culture, and sometimes if there is like some kind of commentary one could make, I'll try to make that, but like it's not really the goal. Like mostly it's I just like to see the direction things seem to be moving in, and that doesn't just mean the people who create the culture, or I don't know if create is the right word, the people who contribute to the culture, but it also applies to the people who respond, because that I think is how culture is made. So welcome to the show. Hello, Mike J. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing pretty all right.
All right. Sounds good. So, we're gonna be taking a look at a bunch of different things going on in the world of pop culture, and I'm gonna start with like just getting the obvious stuff out of the way. Just gonna get the obvious out of the way. We're going to be talking about Disney's new Snow White remake. So here, there was this is from Bounding into Comics, and there was an interview with the star of Snow White. Her name is Rachel Zegler, and here's what she says. In Hollywood's latest regurgitating of their most favorite hollow marketing line, Rachel Zegler has asserted that Disney's upcoming live-action remake of Snow White will be bringing a more contemporary bent to the classic story of its eponymous protagonist. Zegler provided insight into the House of Mouse's updated version for her inaugural Disney princess during an onstage appearance at the recent D23 Expo. Taking the stage in promotion of the studio's latest attempt to lazily cash in on audiences' nostalgia, the actress informed attendees that she and the film's production team had given a modern edge to the enduring fairy tale.
Well, at least they're saying something now that that tells us up front this is going to be horrible.
Yeah, basically.
Modern reinterpretation for modern audiences, giving it a modern edge. It's anytime you hear that, it's like, oh, cool, I can totally skip this.
Yeah,
because it's going to follow the same timeline that everything else goes. Woke discussions, pre-trailer, then the trailer comes out, then everyone hates it. Then the star gets mad and goes, oh my god, looks like the incels are angry today. And then the media comes out and shits all over the fans, and it becomes a huge thing. And then once the movie's out, it's absolutely horrible, and it gets crappy reviews. And then they blame sexist, piss baby misogynerds. And then they say review bombing, and then everyone forgets about it within a month. And we get to do the whole thing again.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that, with the Disney remakes, I don't think any of them are successful. Like, I don't think any of them have been successful. So it's really strange that they, try to pull this tactic. The thing about Snow White, though, is they can't get away with, I don't think, because maybe on some level they can't change the story or characters that much. They can't get away with like the usual thing where they, race swap that, or, change this or whatever. So they basically said, okay, we're going to leave her at least semi-white because that is the name of the character, and that's why the character has the name. But she's not going to be a princess that needs rescuing. And that's basically what she says. She says, taking the stage and promoting. Well, let me go back down here. She says she's not going to be saved by the prince. Then interjected Gal Gadot, who is, I guess, in the film as the evil queen. To which Zegler agreed, she's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. And so,
great. Then this isn't Snow White.
No, it's.
Then this isn't Snow White. Call it something else. You're not making a remake of Snow White. You are literally creating a brand new thing, just slapping that label on there.
Yep. But why? But the question is, why would they do this? And I think that it's not just a cash grab. I've said this before. This is about re-engineering the way that we view our relationships to each other in story form, because stories, they matter. They matter to people because they're how we make sense of the world. And they're trying to rewrite all the stories so that men are either the villains or women don't need them. And I think that what's going to happen, well, here's my guess in terms of like the twist. Because they're going to put a twist in this, right? My guess is that Snow White will confront the queen, the evil queen. Maybe she'll be dressed up as the witch or the hag or whatever, like in the story. But and then what they'll do is they'll realize that, you know, they both been acting this way because of male beauty standards. Because the queen was like, you know, jealous, right? And that's kind of like the story of Snow White. Even though it's not about men at all. And it's really about, like, you know, older women kind of destroying younger women because they're jealous, and it's usually because they don't have anyone to love in their life or whatever. But no, they're gonna throw all that out, and it's gonna basically be like girls figuring out that they could be friends with each other and they don't need men. I don't even know if there's gonna be a prince in this movie. I mean, I don't care, because
why not? Why the fuck not? Nothing needs there. The seven dwarves don't need to be in there. The witch doesn't need to be in there. Nothing needs to be in there. You know, set it in like modern day New York. You know, but maybe throw some dinosaurs in there. I don't know. It doesn't matter. None of this matters.
No. Sadly, it does not. So, I just thought, first thing I'd come out and tell you guys, yes, Disney is remaking Snow White. Yes, it's going to be woke garbage. Don't bother. And if you haven't considered it already, and you own a Disney Plus membership, perhaps consider canceling it. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to do. But if you want to reduce like the net misandry in the world by a little, canceling your subscription is going to do a world of difference. So, and of course, like, no one's gonna look. There's gonna be negative hype about trolls and things like that. But the truth is, no one cares about this. And I think that they want more people to be more angry, but I don't think it's actually going to pan out that way, because that, you know, this was also the case with She-Hulk, right? I think that they expected, they're acting as though they got a lot more hate than they actually did, because most of what they got is actually just apathy or indifference. And the indifference really sucks, because it means no one's talking about them, despite the fact that they've worked so hard to essentially like coax their enemies, which are basically She-Hulk fans, into attacking them, and they're not taking the bait anymore. So, but anyway, just wanted to mention that. Let us know what you guys think about the Snow White remake. It, you know, like that. I don't know what else to say, except I like the movie. I've seen the original few times. It's a technical achievement for its time period. So, you know, if you can watch the original, go for it. But yeah, nobody asked for this. Just like everything else they produce, no one asked for it. All right, so moving on to the next story. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. All right, Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash in the DC expanded universe, I think that's what it stands for. Well, we know that he's been, let's say, in and out of trouble for a while now, and
that's a mild way of putting it.
Yeah, and he's been on the run, as it were. So, but it looks like you know, his antics have caught up with him. So, in what may end up being the inciting incident for a non-binary version of Al Capone having his criminal empire taken down taken down by simple tax evasion. The Flash star, Ezra Miller, has pleaded not guilty. You know that movie, The Flash, that never came out, by the way? The Flash star, Ezra Miller, has pleaded not guilty after being charged with felony burglary in relation to a Vermont home invasion allegedly committed by the actor earlier this year. Maybe he's a method actor. He's like, try to catch me.
There is definitely meth involved.
Yeah. Appearing before Vermont State Superior Court, Judge Carrie Ann McDonald Katie on Monday morning, Miller was charged with 1 count of burglary into an occupied dwelling and 1 count of petite larceny, $900 or less. As per deadline, if convicted, the apparent future of the DCEU faces a maximum of 26 years behind bars, as well as over $2,000 in fines, which sounds kind of... $2,000 doesn't sound like that much money.
But, for someone like him, it's nothing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. These charges stem from a May 1st arrest, which took place, as per the Vermont State Police, quote, at approximately 5:55 p.m. after the Vermont State Police was notified of a burglary complaint at a residence belonging to victim Isaac B. Winokur on Country Road in the town of Stamford, Vermont, end quote. Let me see. So they basically say the initial findings indicated that several bottles of alcohol were taken from the residence while the homeowners were not present. So he's just like bumming around their place, I guess. As a result of an investigation that included surveillance videos and statements, probable cause was found to charge Ezra M. Miller with the offense of felony burglary into an unoccupied dwelling. According to Deadline, Winker alleges that upon breaking into his home, Miller stole 3 bottles of hard alcohol, 1 each of gin, vodka, and rum. This seemingly contradicts an earlier denial from a representative for Miller to Vanity Fair that rather than any sort of liquor, the actor was cooking with their mother, needed rice wine, and grabbed that and another bottle of wine from the home of a close childhood friend. So, anyway, the so the Flash is looking at 26 years, up to 26 years behind bars. And yeah, that I mean, not exactly, you know, what this might sound a bit weird, but I think that if you're an actor and you play heroic roles, I think that it's generally a good idea that you live up to this standard of behavior. And I know that a lot of people would say that doesn't make sense because they're just acting. But I think that as young people, especially, they get attached to these people, right? If it builds like a significant fan base. I think that in Ezra Miller's case, it doesn't matter because he was in like one movie that anyone remembers, and that was the Justice League movie, and his role is kind of small. But like, I think that people should be living up to a certain standard. So like, I'll give you some examples. Obviously, a really popular one that people think of is Christopher Reeve, who was basically like, he wasn't just the guy who played Superman in the 1970s. He had this whole thing where he kind of embodied it, like with all of the charity work that he did and all these other things. So you got the sense that he was a good guy. He's probably not, he probably wasn't perfect, but that's not really important. Like, this is the thing that he kind of put out there, and when I was a kid, I thought this guy is basically Superman. Like, it didn't matter if he just played Superman in the movies. And I also saw that with Robert Downey Jr. Before he made the first Iron Man movie, he was kind of a mess, right? He had drug addiction and other addiction problems, and I think that he kind of alienated people in his life, and I mean, he was a mess. And then he got cleaned up and like did all the work that was necessary. And then like, Jon Favreau, I assume offered him the job, and it was perfect because he had literally lived the life that Tony Stark had lived, like where he started off a mess and then he turns it around. And I think that if you look, I know that this is all like a bit pie in the sky. So I'm not going to ask this much of like Hollywood actors, but it's nice to see people who embody their like if they're playing as a hero, it's nice to see people embodying that in their performances and their what they're chosen for in terms of casting. Like there was another person, Stallone, I guess. Yeah. So, Stallone, he did the same thing with Rocky. He was trying to embody a certain kind of person because he thought that the world needed that. He said in an interview that in the 1970s, everything in films were all like anti-Christian, anti-American, anti-Western, anti-family. And he said like he wanted to make something that was not like that. And this was him in the 70s saying this. And he made Rocky for that purpose. And I think that this is why everyone loves that character, because it does give them that like that sense that they can do what he can do, right? That like nothing is outside of your reach. Zerang says RDJ auditioned for Tony Stark. All right, well, it doesn't like it's fine either way, but the point is that he got that role, and I think that it's a good cosmic accident at least, right? Because he embodies that redemption story, which is RDJ's story, but also Stark's story. And I mean, like, I couldn't imagine anyone else playing that character. So, when I see that, I'm glad that Ezra Miller is going to get justice and everything. But it is kind of like weird to think that, that he played that role and probably could have been like a legend, but now he's a legend for other reasons. I don't know if I made any sense with that, but
I sort of understand where you're coming from there.
Yeah, I think that if you can really make something special if you can embody it in your own behavior, and it becomes way more than like a role, So anyway, I guess I guess like once we know for sure what the charges are, and is this really the only thing that he's looking at?
I don't think it is. It can't be. There's so many other things. Like the whole joke for the beginning part of well, not really the beginning, but like the middle of this year has been, wow. Every time I see the words Ezra Miller in a headline, I'm just mentally preparing myself to see the most reprehensible words put together in one sentence.
In one
like
headline.
I remember like people were making parodies of like headlines, and I couldn't tell what was fake and what was real anymore unless they were so hyperbolic. Like one was like Ezra Miller rips man's scrotum off in a 7-Eleven or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, did he? Can I check?
I wouldn't be. Yeah, again, you just have to double check to make sure that he didn't do that. But
yeah, it's like every other day he was just like assaulting someone or throwing something at someone,
or there was a viral video and he's like,
oh yeah,
threatening them. Yeah, sure.
Like, oh god, there was this insane video. I don't know if you've seen it, where he's like taking a picture with a fan and just like he looks drugged out of his mind. But then again, that's probably just his default state of being. And like he's like taking a picture, and she's like, like putting up her hands, like she's, mock fighting him, and then suddenly he just turns around and just begins choking her and forces her to the ground.
Yeah.
And like you could see the moment the Karen's like, ha 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 ha. Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. It's
And there's the whole weird thing with that underage Native American girl that he
oh yeah.
groomed,
Yeah.
and just all the weirdness about that like cult compound / farm he was running, where they just found drugs and guns everywhere just lying around. And this cannot be the only thing.
This guy
Cannot.
No, it's amazing. Like he could write a book, I'm sure, while in prison of the time, where he basically goes through all of his exploits. Fuck it, just put it all out there. They'll make a movie out of it. So, all right. Well, anyway, that's heavy. Let us know what you guys think about Ezra Miller's exploits. Do you think that 26 years is like a pretty fair, or do you think it's just a start? I mean, the truth is, I think that it's obviously there's other charges that he has to deal with, but like 26 years, if he's not able to like shorten that with good behavior or whatever, that's basically the end of his career. Because I think that he mainly gets work because of his like cheekbones and youthful appearance, and he's not going to have that. In fact, I'm a little worried about his physical health in prison. But all right, I got a super chow from Egregious Charles, who says, they always talk about review bombing, but who has more means, motive, and opportunity to change reviews than the media giants? Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think that review bombing is so much happening as there are just a lot of people who are like, I didn't like this. And maybe if a lot of people just say I didn't like this, they interpret it as review bombing. Like, it seems to me it's kind of a waste of energy, even if it doesn't take much effort, to go to IMDb or to Rotten Tomatoes or whatever and just put a 1-star review in. Like, when you can just not watch it. Like, no interest. I have no interest in any of the shit that's being put out, which is why I feel perfectly liberated to shit on it from over here, because I'm not invested. Like, my investment in all of this is gone, but thank you for that. Yeah, it's definitely like, if you've ever seen this on the internet, and I've seen this a lot, and I'm seeing this a lot more recently, there's a lot of like sort of like fan pages, and they're not usually really big fan pages, right, or anything like that, but there's a lot of fan pages and individuals that maybe they their individual pages have become sort of highly commented fan spaces, and they share these like well-made photoshopped images of like whatever the new product is, whether it's a She-Hulk thing, and they want to say, Scar is gonna appear at the end of She-Hulk, and then they have like a picture of Scar, or they'll say Daredevil appears in episode of She-Hulk, and they have a picture of Daredevil from the new She-Hulk show, for example. Or they'll say it was revealed that, or no, see the amazing unpredictable reveal that no one saw coming and in Lord of the Rings of Power. And a couple things I noticed about it is that all of the films that they're using, that they are sharing these images of, first of all the images look like they're basically being made in the same place. So it doesn't look like someone naturally said, I'm going to make a meme and use a screenshot. It looks like the various studios put those together and then distributed them to essentially people who are shilling for them. And they'll share it, and they'll get people talking. So they'll show like, here's who's going to play Little Mermaid, right? And then if people give their opinion, which most of the people who comment are all like gushing and, talking about how great it is and how excited they are and how hyped they are. But none of it really feels genuine. It all feels really phony. And I think that that's
remember the Lord of the Rings mega fans interview?
Yeah. You remember the Rings of Power mega fans? My lady, my girl Galadriel, like that's exactly the kind of energy that's in these memes. And they're not even, I hate to say meme because it's really just, like I said, it looks like like a collector's card kind of blown up, right? Oh, here's a character from the show you like, and I think it's just really obvious. It's all cope. They're struggling to get people interested, and so they're constructing a fan base that isn't real. And like, sorry, but it's not. It's nothing like it was when we had, when Star Wars was at its peak, or when the MCU was starting out, and everybody was excited about the next thing. Like the energy is nothing like that. So they're obviously just trying to hold on, and they're lying to the fans because they're saying everyone is really excited about this. Why aren't you? And it's just not true. No one is excited. No one cares. Like, because it's not for them anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. It's for the people who create the show. I mean, or whatever, whatever the movie is or the product. It's created for the people who created it. And all it is it's an ego stroke. So they can just say, look at how smart I am. Look how great I am. That's about me, and no one else watched it. So it's, sad, but it's true. Q Brother Soulstar gives us $5 and says, Miller Time, the feel-good Halloween movie of the year. Is that a real movie? Oh, are you making a joke
Ezra
about
Miller?
Yeah. Miller Time. Yeah. All right, so let us know what you guys think about this Ezra Miller story. I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, so this one it's a little bit, I guess it could be considered a little bit tricky, but I felt like I needed to at least propose something, because here's what I've seen, and maybe I'm wrong, because I don't like, I'm not constantly consuming other YouTubers' content, so I don't know if they've like changed their position on this or not. But let's first just look at the story as it is. Twitch streamer Amaranth accuses allegedly abusive husband of controlling her finances and making her stream in revealing outfits. And it says popular Twitch streamer Amaranth. So I don't know if you guys know about these Twitch thoughts. They're immensely popular. I think that Amaranth is in the top 10 streamers. Okay. So she's tremendously popular. And one of the things that these Twitch streamers and OnlyFans girls and, all of these women online, one of the things that they use to make money, and she makes money. She makes over $1 million a month on average, $1 million a month, right? One of the things that these women do is they don't share their personal relationship information with their audience in general, unless they're like, it's some kind of fetish thing that they're into. But in general, they keep that secret, keep it to themselves. And they kind of suggest, sometimes overtly, sometimes very subtly, that if men give enough, they might have a chance with them. Okay? And this is like not a shocking revelation. This is just the way it is. Like, there, women that want to make you think that you have a chance if you give them enough money on the internet, that should surprise nobody. Okay? And Amaranth was someone who, she's been doing this for a long time. And she's had a boyfriend or a husband for most of that time that she's been on the internet. And I think I kind of knew about this like a while ago because it kind of came out. I think that It's a Gundam may have exposed it. That's how I know who she is, because I watch It's a Gundam, and I haven't seen him lately, but you know, years ago he was doing a bit more like men's kind of like men's issues content in a way, because he was talking about dating and dating sites and like, you know, what it is that women are after, and they were really great and funny videos. But it seems like he's moved more towards the cultural things lately. So imagine Amaranth just needs her fan base to believe that they have a chance with her, and she does these sexy streams where she wears bikinis and lingerie, and okay, I guess she also has like more spicy content where she does more explicit things that you can't
I'm
find.
pretty sure she's got an OnlyFans.
Yeah, she's probably got an only. I'm fairly certain she does. I just don't want to like say it for sure because I could be wrong, because there's a lot of thoughts. But I mean, we're drowning in thoughts online. But I'm fairly certain she does have an OnlyFans or a Patreon or something, and she's offering like extra spicy content. And so it was revealed. Maybe they'll describe it in the article, because here's where I think it gets interesting. Popular Twitch streamer Amaranth is taking a break from the platform after claiming that her allegedly abusive husband was dictating both her work and her finances. Though some clips remain, as reported by Dexerto, Caitlin Siragusa, that's Amaranth's real name, made damning claims regarding her streaming career as Amaranth in a since-deleted October 15th live stream. The streamer had built a reputation of maximizing her sex appeal, as much as Twitch terms of service would allow, that is, and had been accused of doing so in an attempt to boost donations from male viewers. Some even accuse her of lying to her viewers when it was uncovered that she was married to Nick Lee in 2018. Yeah, see, I knew about it in 2018. As though she had led them on with false promises of potential sex or a relationship. Again, she's very careful about not actually doing that. So it makes it hard for people to accuse her, but I believe that a lot of men misinterpret, right? And maybe they do because they really want to. I don't know. This would later lead to her harassment and doxing. On October 15th, however, Amaranth claimed that her marriage was abusive. She alleged that Lee had forced her to stream while commanding her finances and leaving little for her. The inciting incident, Lee was allegedly asking her to continue presenting herself as single despite being uncovered in 2018 and focus on the hot tub streams. Later information would also suggest an incident during TwitchCon played a role. Given that the original stream was being taken down, the exact order in which the events unfolded is unclear. In one clip, Amaranth, seemingly looking distressed, claimed, "I've been wanting to tell people, let's just stream together. Let's just tell them that we're fucking married, because it's like our relationship would be better instead of fighting all the time." But no, Amaranth mocked, "you don't say that or it'll ruin the business model. It's not time yet. Fuck yourself. I'm done with it. I'm not gonna fuck you anymore, piece of shit. You want me to tell him I'm single? It's about to be true, piece of shit. Go fuck yourself, small dick, anyways." Of course she would say that. Amaranth also shared...
Real classy woman.
An alleged series of abusive texts from Lee. Spelling error suggesting it was typed quickly in anger. Next time when I say a plan, do it. Alright, well... So she's basically like showing everyone the arguments they're having on via text, or at least an argument that has happened via text. And I want to say that like at the end, I mean, they're arguing about merch and stuff and whatnot, but like at the end, she claims that he threatened to kill her dogs. Again, I don't know. And also that I want to see if I can find the thing that he has asked for a divorce And then she came out to the people watching her and she said, "Oh, it looks like we're getting a divorce, so I guess I am going to be single very soon." And like, I'm like really suspicious of this whole thing. And the thing that
Yeah,
kind of like surprised me about this is how many people, like, I think the quartering was like defending her. Like, he was like, "We need to defend her from this guy." And I'm like, why? Like, I don't know the details of anything. I'm being told a bunch of shit. How do we know they're not both in cahoots to make it look like, "Oh no, we're divorced. Now I'll make even more money," but they're actually not? Like, what? I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, I think the easiest test if this is bullshit or not is just let's monitor her behavior for the next couple of months. Is she gonna keep streaming? Is she gonna keep doing the thing that she claims she was forced into doing
Yeah.
for this evil, wicked man? Like, I know if I, was being, as she claims, essentially held prisoner and forced to do something for revenue the second I got out of there, I wouldn't be like, well, I'm free now. I guess I'll go back to that horrible coal mine that I hated.
Yeah.
Why would you keep doing that? And I wonder, is she gonna just get a 9 to 5? Is she gonna be working at Taco Bell now? Or is she gonna keep streaming? Is she gonna keep wearing revealing outfits? Is she gonna keep up the persona and just keep doing what she was doing?
Well,
I think probably yes.
yeah, exactly.
But hey, I look forward to be proven wrong.
Yeah, well, I'm open to it, but I think I'd prefer to be proven right. And the other thing too is that she, like, this woman is not trustworthy. Like, she was lying about her status. She was lying about, like, she got caught in lies a number of times. But tits and ass, so let's forgive all of it because I like them titties and that ass. So, but like, it's constant. And when you know that this woman can lie, why would you believe her when she makes a claim that she's a victim? And of course, that's what, I mean, she's crying on stream and shit. And guys are like, "Oh no, she's being mistreated by her man that she's been with for like several years now. I'm gonna save her." Like, no, don't. Put your penis away and start and think with your brain, please. Like, this is this is she is going to milk so many dudes out of more money. It's a shame. But you know what? A fool and his earnings are quickly, what do you call it, separated or whatever. So, but I just had to make this known. Like, I think that I think that people are starting to turn around on this thing and basically realize, wait a minute, she has like a history of lying. Why are we listening to her? But it's funny that the default, even for women like this, is still to be like, listen and believe. When there's literally no reason that you don't know. So, all right. Someone says she probably isn't controlling the money. I don't think it matters. Like, what does that mean, controlling the money? Because if you're responsible for the finances, like how it's invested, how you save it, etc., that doesn't mean that you're controlling the money. That means that you have another job, basically. Like, like Lindsay and I, we both work. I do this show. She does, she works another job. And when we get paid, we just sort of throw all of our money together, savings account. So it's nothing fancy, but if we decided to like buy some stocks or something, then there would be a conversation. But I don't know. I don't think it matters that much. I don't think he's ripping her off. So, all right. Anyway, because she's literally like she's the golden, the goose that lays the golden eggs, really. So That's another reason why I don't think it makes sense that she's feeling trapped and shit. Because you could literally leave and then you can go move into a hotel that he doesn't know about and immediately go back to making pornographic content, and then you'll be in another $1 million. So, all right. Let us know what you guys think about this story. Have you been following this very closely? Did you hear about this? Let us know what you guys think about this in the comments, because I'd be curious. Like, there could be a case that I'm not aware of where she is the victim, but I don't think so. I'm very, very, very suspicious of that. So, all right. Zeranx gives us $5 and says Amaranth's story sounds similar to the hypothetical A Tate mentioned if his girlfriend's was on OnlyFans. Wait, the hypothetical A Tate mentioned.
He's talking about Andrew Tate.
Oh, Andrew Tate mentioned. Okay. He just said A Tate, and I was a little confused by the A.
I don't know. Maybe you can't. You can't say Andrew Tate on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, maybe we're just not. I mean, I'm okay with saying Andrew Tate on YouTube, but I understand. Thank you, Zeranx.
I mean, like in comment form.
I'm inclined to agree. I don't remember what Andrew Tate said. I thought that he said he wouldn't let his girl go on OnlyFans because then she's like sharing her body with the world. And I thought that he had a problem with that. I mean, I think that it's I wouldn't like that. Like, I wouldn't, like, if my wife, I don't think my wife would ever do this because she's way too like demure. But if she suddenly was like, I think I want to start an OnlyFans account, I'm going to be like, well, we're going to have to talk about the future of our marriage because I don't want that. And that's going to be it. And, that's just what I think. You and I can divorce, and then you can go ahead and do OnlyFans, and maybe you'll get rich. I don't know. Maybe. So, but, yeah, I mean, I think it's okay as a man to have preferences and essentially state them. You don't have to make women do anything. All you got to do is say, hey, you want to see, like another person or something? Like, if you want to make this into a open-ended relationship, yeah, you can do that. You just got to do it without me, and that's it. Like, I could just say I'm not interested in that, and if that's really what you want, then we're done. So, men have a right to their own boundaries and in relationships. So, don't let women manipulate you into letting them do shit. So, all right. Let's move on to the next story. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. Next, I don't know a whole lot about this, so hopefully Mike J can fill me in if you've been like looking at this. But former Bayonetta voice actress Elena Taylor calls for Bayonetta 3 boycott following Platinum Games' allegedly insulting pay offer. So, have you guys ever heard of a game called Bayonetta? It's an action title. It plays a lot like Devil May Cry. In some ways, I think that it was like better than Devil May Cry, but then like Devil May Cry 5 came out. Now it's like, ooh, it's close. But they're basically like really, really high, intense, fast-paced action titles. And the voice actor, I guess, she's like a big part of what sells for the game because she has like this certain personality, and the original voice actor does a pretty good job of capturing that. So Helena Taylor, the original voice of Bayonetta in the eponymously named hack and slash series, has called for a boycott of Bayonetta 3 after Platinum Games allegedly made her an insulting pay offer. Upon the gameplay reveal, some fans suspected Bayonetta was not voiced by Helena Taylor, because she's always done it in the past, who had voiced her in the first 2 entries in the series, cameo appearances, and the Bayonetta Bloody Fate anime film. Soon after, it was confirmed Jennifer Hale Diana Air, I don't know how that's how you say it, in Baldur's Gate, female Commander Shepard in Mass Effect, and Samus in Metroid Prime, it was revealed that Jennifer Hale would be voicing the titular Umbra Witch. In an interview with Game Informer in early October, game developer Yusuke Miyata stated, quote, various overlapping circumstances made it difficult for Helena Taylor to reprise her role. We held auditions to cast the new voice of Bayonetta and offered the role to Jennifer Hale, whom we felt was a good match for the character, end quote. I understand the concerns some fans have about the voice change at this point in the series, but Jennifer's performance was way beyond what we could have imagined. I'm confident that her portrayal of Bayonetta will exceed the fans' expectations, Miyata promised. Platinum Games also confirmed Atsuko Tanaka, Bayonetta's Japanese voice actress, would remain the same. Japanese are professionals. On October 15th, Taylor's tweets had attached videos sent shockwaves through the fanbase. Friends, worldlings, Bayonetters, hear ye, Taylor opened with several associated hashtags. I guess she has.
You don't need to read the entire thing. It's pretty wordy.
Yeah, it looks kind of long.
Yeah, but essentially the long and short of it is she's claiming that they basically hit her with a super low ball offer, and it was insultingly low, and she was never going to take it because it just wouldn't be worth her time, despite being something she was passionate about. Mm-hmm. And again, this is all coming from her. This is something she claimed. And I do know that this is something that is common among the Japanese in business. If they really, really, really want to get rid of someone,
they lowball them.
Yeah, they don't fire you. They basically say, okay, and we'll pay you. I've got $12 in my pocket. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
And you just walk away because you go, I'm not going to work for peanuts. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, oh, well, problem solved. They left on their own accord. We didn't fire anybody. Now, whether that's true or not, I'm not entirely sure, because there's a shitload of he said, she said right now going around about this. She claims she was offered $4,000 for the whole kit and caboodle. I've seen other people claim that it was actually $4,000 per recording session, which sounds much, much more reasonable. And I've also heard some people say that, like, depending on whoever's telling the truth, if it is indeed $4,000, there is no way Jennifer Hale worked for $4,000, because she's a AAA voice actress.
Yeah, I guess she is claiming it was 4,000. I thought it was 6, but nonetheless. So Jennifer Hale is the person they hired now, right? Helena Taylor is the old voice actress. Jennifer Hale's the new voice actress. And Helena Taylor was calling for a boycott of Bayonetta 3, right? So she's calling for a boycott as a result of her being lowballed, or at least her grievance about being lowballed. And I don't think that's gonna work. I mean, I think people are pretty excited about this game.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think they thought they were. Again, if this all assumes she's telling the truth, this is definitely something I think they did, thinking they could get away with it, because, like, she basically has one thing to her name, and that is voicing Bayonetta. Like, I looked up her body of work the other day, and it's like, okay, what else has she done? Well, she's done Bayonetta 1, Bayonetta 2, and the Bayonetta anime, and she was Bayonetta in Smash Brothers, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, because I thought that, like, Platinum Games was kind of like a smallish company, even though they were making...
They're smaller, but they're definitely AAA still.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So she basically she's calling for a boycott. It's probably not going to happen. And I don't know what else to add, really. I mean,
The one thing I will toss a little bit of shade at Helena Taylor,
mm,
because in the later videos she she starts talking like all about, oh my god, this, it impacted my mental health. I
oh
was
yeah,
depressed. I was anxious. This terrifies me because I was suicidal at one point, and when anyone starts talking like that, I just start to get really suspicious of them.
yeah, yeah. And it almost always is women doing that. Almost always. I had anxiety. I had to see a therapist. I had, like depression, and I exactly. And I thought I saw that in here, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not surprised by that. Um, I wouldn't worry about her. She's gonna be fine. You'll find work somewhere else. Hopefully, it's not a big deal. Uh, Speaking of people getting fired, though, and let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. But speaking of people getting fired and probably like needing to bounce back, um, G4 TV is officially gone, officially imploded.
Oh my god, we can stop talking about it finally.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna let us, because so G4 is gone. Okay, now this changes my life in no way in particular, because I never watched it to begin with, and based on how, just like based on like Adam Sessler, did he say, like, I think when Trump got elected, he was like losing his shit on
Yeah, well,
social media.
he's been a piece of crap for the longest time. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I
I
know.
remember when
Gamergate.
Gamergate was
Yep,
first turning up
Gamergate.
around 2013, 2014. He was right there showing how he, was palling around town with his new best friend Zoe Quinn. And
Yeah,
I had to do double think, like, wait a minute, that is that Adam Sessler?
yeah. What's
No, he
what
was,
is that around
and
the
this
time
was,
that he did that rant where he said, "You have every right to like be a fucking asshole, and I have every
yes,
right to put all your
to
info."
yeah, to dox you,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That was the same time. But I had to, like I said, do like a double take, because I grew up watching X Play and you know G4 Tech TV, and that was how I found out about video games. That was how I found
Yeah,
out about, like, what the new video games were, if they were any good, if I wanted to play them, if I wanted to rent them, if I wanted to buy them. And he came off as a really likable guy. Like, he
sure.
was one of these people that stood up against Jack Thompson back when he was making the rounds,
Uh huh.
and even offered to have a roundtable discussion with him. He seemed like a real good proponent for video games, and then yeah, learned it was all an act.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not that it's an act, but it's more like, I think that these people are uh, consumed by self righteousness, and I think it prevents them from being able to see the true difference between um, sort of drowning in your own narcissistic view of your moral frame and like treating everyone as fairly as possible. So yeah, he would go after Jack Thompson. He would go after, like, some, but it's not because Jack Thompson was wrong, or because Jack Thompson came to some bad conclusions. But it was because Jack Thompson was on the right, and he just didn't like people on the right, and he couldn't fathom a world where people on the left could also be doing similar, if not worse, things, because they will actually get jobs in the companies and then they'll eat them from the inside out. Whereas like Jack Thompson couldn't get a job with, like Capcom or something, to try and like, or Midway might be better because he was very critical of Mortal Kombat. Um, but But I think that it's the self-righteousness. Like they believe that they know what morality is, what right and wrong is. And that's why they have absolutely no desire to understand people who disagree with them. Um, Even though he could be like, perhaps like convinced to talk to someone like Jack Thompson because he would assume that, oh, he's just not as smart as I am, and I can like hold his hand and help him see, that video games are not, your enemy and blah blah blah. But then like when you look at what arguments Jack Thompson was making, it's kind of hard to come at him hard because he was basically saying that he was worried about like how this stuff could affect kids, and that's always been his concern, and I don't think that that's completely unreasonable. It sort of reminds me of like, was it the name of the woman who was like the wife of a politician, and
Tipper Gore.
yeah, Tipper Gore, right? And she was like upset about rap music, and or you could even go back to Frederick Wortham, who was talking about comic books, right? In most of those cases, the way that stuff ended was basically with a warning label or some other kind of, badge or brand on the product. And I think that that was a good thing, because now you don't have to, like, first of all, you put like this song contains explicit lyrics. I don't even think they had an age limit on them, but like a lot of stores would probably like, try to enforce one. But then again, kids can access it regardless. But the point is that it's on the label. So what does that mean? Well, it means now, once they put those warning labels on rap, or any album for that matter, although the rap albums were the first ones, I think, to really push it. Now, like, everyone in the music industry had like a whole new world of shit they could play in. So punk bands, metal bands, and rap bands were all making, music with explicit lyrics because, we're just going to put a label on it and basically warn people that I'm using bad words. Well, okay. And so they did. And I think that basically we all benefited because, like it wasn't a ban. It's not censorship. It's just like a filter. And I think that was the smartest way forward. And they did the same thing with.
Yeah, but that's not what they wanted initially. They wanted a lot more, and they were talked down to that.
Yeah. Well, but there was a negotiation that happened. That's what I'm getting at. Yes, they probably would have come up with an oversimplification of a solution, like an oversimplified solution of like, the music just can't be like that. But what they ended up with, I think, was much better than even the way things were at that time. And and that was with music, right? But also, what was the other industry I was talking about that did that was similar? Well, I guess you could, comic books, right? So, they would put the that where that landed was they had to put the Comics Code Authority seal on books. But not all books had to have it. They were just like, I guess if you wanted to like sell it in certain places or whatever, like to like in comic shops for kids or whatever, then it should have that on there. And they did do that. And Stan Lee and all the other like mainstream comic companies, they did their best to, work within it. A lot of the rules didn't make sense. Stan Lee has talked about that, or he had in the past. But then, like, there was this one time where he wanted to make a anti-drug story, or someone asked him to, or something, right? And it was basically like a, like a cautionary tale, and they wanted it to be a Spider-Man book. And Stan Lee said, "Well, I can't do stories about drugs because of the Comics Code Authority." And they said, "Well, do you have to have the Comics Code Authority thing?" And he said, "No." And so he just went ahead and did it. It had like, more limited release, I guess, but it was a very, good story, and it did well, and he was happy that he did that. So, I don't know. I'm saying that all of this stuff can be worked around, but I don't think people like Adam Sessler wants to do that. I think that they are just control freaks, and they believe that if you don't believe as they believe, we can't negotiate, we can't settle on anything. You just have to shut up and go away and let us be. And that's basically, I think, their position. So this is what wokies are like. That's the main problem, is that they're control freaks. Not really like what they believe. It's how they try to force that on you, and they don't like to hear whatever your opinion on it might be, and that's why they like the idea of controlling the culture, and that's why, like, they'll say things like, when they're in power, or at least they believe they're in power, they'll say, you have to do as I say, as we say, fall in line, otherwise you're done. And when they say you're done, it's not necessarily like a life threat, but they'll basically cancel you, they'll dox you. It's everything Adam Sessler said he would do, right? You have every right to be an asshole, and I have every right to put your name out there. That's basically saying, I have the power to destroy your life, I'm going to use it because I don't like what you're saying.
I think we got a little off subject here.
A little bit, but I wanted to make that point. And like the G4 thing, there isn't. I mean, I'm glad they're gone because they were shitty people. You know what's funny about this too? They had, so like after the Frost rant, she was suddenly not on the show, right? And I think on the one of the first episodes of the new G4 before it died, they brought out Amaranth as a replacement, and they had her like in I don't know, like in a bubble bath or something, right? I thought that was really, it's kind of funny because now we got all this Amaranth drama coming out too.
Yeah, but, well, they did that basically because I think they basically sat down Frosk and gave her a real stern talking to about how they were like, we're you're fucking up what we're doing. We're trying to bring back that old G4 energy. So yeah. No. We're siding with the viewers, not against them. You don't have to walk back this weird rant you went on. Just don't fucking do it again.
Yeah. Well, that might be the case. I'm not sure if they actually believe that. I mean, I think the Amaranth thing is a bit of an overcompensation. Let's get the number one thought and put her on our show. That way, because I mean, damn, that's gotta like really piss off Frosk. Like that she would basically go on this whole tirade about sexism in gaming and how men objectify women and how they shouldn't be doing that, and it's all terrible. And then they're like, okay, would you mind taking a break? And they bring out Amaranth, who basically has no problem sexualizing and objectifying herself, for thirsty dudes because she gets paid. And I just think that's funny.
But the man, just one of the things I wanted to get to just about the now in just complete insolvency of G4.
Yeah.
Is wow, did you hear how they the majority of people found out about this that were working for them?
No.
They found out from a leaked memo that came out on last Sunday.
Yeah.
And basically it was from the chairman and CEO, Dave Scott, basically saying, so we're not going to be able to do this. We're discontinuing G4's operations. Yeah, basically everyone's getting fired. Sorry about that.
Oof.
And I forget who it was like, wow, so this is how I find out I have no job to come back to tomorrow. Cool.
Oof. Yeah.
And it was just oof. And of course, Frosk definitely had to come out and say something about this.
Okay. Do you know basically what she said?
It's the
my sexism in gaming segment, is that the one?
Yes.
Okay. My sexism in gaming segment was approved by all executive showrunners in X-Play. When I was originally hired and cast, G4 made the internal statement that diversity and inclusion was what it was built on to fix the past. Fix the past. I was fully supported initially until doxing and threats. Then I asked for support multiple times and was ignored for or directly lied to about support coming. No guidelines, no plans, no help. Then management changed and it became openly hostile. Oh. Okay. And I guess
yeah,
Adam,
that's gonna be or go ahead.
I was just gonna say Adam Sessler went on a bit of a tirade too, didn't he?
Oh yeah. He talked a bunch of shit about them, and Adam says, like, if you want to see one of the most unhinged Twitters on the internet, go check out Adam Sessler's. Like,
yeah.
last I heard, he was just talking about how he just wants to fight random people, and like response to everyone's like, "I'll fight you, I will fight you," and it's like, dude, no, shut up, look at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I heard for the longest time he had a massive cocaine problem.
Oh yeah.
Like that was the big rumor that was circulating. Like, God, if you saw him at like this one this one E3, and when he's not talking, he's just sitting there and he keeps making these like weird faces. And I've heard that's something people on cocaine will do, because cocaine, it's it's a topical or not topical, but it's I can't think of the word. It's one of those things that makes you go numb.
Oh, okay.
Like they use a form of it, Novocaine. It's similar.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things is, if you're doing a lot of it, because you got to snort it and it goes through your face to get into your bloodstream, your face will go numb and you won't know you're making these weird faces because you can't feel your facial muscles.
Yeah.
And so that was a thing that was in there. I also heard, again, this is all rumor and hearsay and speculation, that the reason he doesn't hang around with Zoe Quinn anymore and that kind of sect is that they basically not unfriended, but like ghosted him, because he was just pestering all of the young kids, like, "Hey, who's your dealer? Where can I get more cocaine?"
Whoa. What?
Again, rumor, hearsay, and speculation. Nothing confirmed, but
yeah. That's
it wouldn't shock me too much.
No, it's wild. It sounds wild, but probably not that shocking. There's a whole other world that I don't know anything about where shit like that happens. So, and that's normal. All right, so I gotta move on. Zeranx gives us $5 and says, "I need to make sure." No, wait. Q Brother Soulstar, I think that's the one where I left off, gives us $5 and says, "Adam on Twitter right now having a meltdown, threatening to fight people."
Yep.
Calling everybody your mama. Or talking about people's moms. I'm not sure which it is. Thank you for that, Q Brother Soulstar. Zeranx gives us $5 and says, "The rating system was the worst thing the moral busybodies could do. Kids want to see everything denied them, and adults never see that. It's annoying." Is it? I mean, I don't know. Kids are gonna they're gonna figure out a way around it, but I think it shuts adults up. So I don't think it matters. So I can't.
But it's really interesting that Frost has come out saying all these things, because no doubt if she was probably paid off, they probably paid her out and before kicking her out the door.
Yeah.
She definitely had to sign some kind of NDA. And all of this stuff she's saying right now is massively, massively NDA breaking. So I think there's a lawsuit in her future.
Yeah, she's probably gonna get in some trouble. All right. So let us know what you guys think about this story in the comments. Are we not all glad that G4 is finally gone and we may not have to hear anything from them for a while? Although I suspect that many of the people that worked or were supposed to work on G4 are going to be like making their own channels or something. I mean, what are they going to do? I think they should I think that they should start their own YouTube channel or Twitch stream
Yeah,
or whatever.
more power to them. Go for it.
Yeah, and
Because that was
see,
really the big thing. This guy, Dave Scott, this chairman CEO for Comcast.
hmm,
I mean, again, partially what I've heard and what I've simply inferred. This guy does not seem to have any concept of how to run something. They were spending so much money. They had so many employees for, again, what is essentially a YouTube show. You don't need to hire that many people. You don't need to throw that much money around. Like, I think any one of us, you, me, Brian, anyone, probably even half the people listening, if given the same level of capital and the goal, could have run a better ship.
yeah,
And that's the thing. You just, boy, talk about like being handed something that should be the easiest thing to do and just absolutely mucking it up on every conceivable level.
no, I can't, not easily. But I guess this is a pretty good example of just that.
And again, you got people doing what they were doing with infinitely less money. Like look at us. We're what,
Hmm.
2 guys right now, 2 computers, and some free downloaded software.
Yep.
Couple of art doodles, and that's it. And this isn't hard to do. Tons of people do this. I mean, fuck. Look at like, he's he's the goat. He does basically everything by himself. Look at AVGN. He's literally one guy
Hmm.
who figured it all out on his own from basically just, I wonder if I can, to, oh yeah, cool, I can.
Hmm.
He didn't need, he didn't need, millions in Comcast startup money. It's not hard. So more power to him. It's not that hard to do. If they want to do it, hey, slap on the back. Welcome to the schlub minds with the rest of us.
Yep. And good luck. Yeah, so I agree with that 100%. All right, so we're going to move on to the next story. No more super chows, no more super chats. So this is the last one. It's going to be kind of short, but I think Man of Steel 2 back on with Henry Cavill Superman after years of studio interference, which I didn't know there was. So Warner Brothers, they're releasing Black Adam this weekend, starring like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, as Black Adam, and there's this rumor that Henry Cavill makes a cameo appearance, at the end of the movie or post-credit scene or something, and he basically makes a cameo appearance as Superman at the end of
Wouldn't it be funny if you just made a guest appearance as Henry Cavill?
I thought, that would be funny.
It's like, oh my god, you're super. No, I'm just Henry Cavill. I get that a lot.
Yeah, I get that a lot. No, so, and apparently it implies, like, this cameo implies that Black Adam and Superman in some future film will, have to fight each other or something. That's the suggestion. And
sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, so first of all, I just want to say I didn't know that Henry Cavill was no longer, or was potentially no longer, playing the character. So that is one of those things that I was surprised by, but because I thought that had never happened to begin with, it didn't really bother me. So and apparently they're also talking about doing a Man of Steel 2, which I don't know what it's about or anything. That they just really want to do it. And I think that a lot of people are speculating that they're trying to like make the Snyderverse happen as a way to fix things. So I guess so here are my thoughts. The DCEU is a fucking mess. Like
Yes.
it's an absolute mess, and I don't think it can be fixed without starting all like over. Like you have to start all over. You have to like pretend like nothing happened, and I don't think that that's really a great idea either, because I think it will confuse people. And but like it's a mess. And then when you take into consideration the fact that Ezra Miller is basically going to be in jail, and he's not going to be able to reprise his role, and they set up the whole like plot, whatever it is, because we don't know, but they set up an entire plot for the DC universe around the Flash, who is, going to alternate dimensions or something. That's dead. Like they're not gonna revive that. And on top of that, it's just a convoluted mess. I don't think there's any saving it. Now, I will say though that of all the casting that they have done in the DCEU, Henry Cavill is my favorite. And like in terms of, whether or not he's a good fit for Superman. But the writing for Superman is terrible. Like, it's not Henry Cavill's fault. I think he looks the part and everything. I think he could play it. He could play it well. But the writing for Superman is not good, in my opinion.
The writing for most of the DC,
it's
whatever.
Not. I mean, I thought Wonder Woman was okay. I don't think it was. I think it was like not as weak, and but yeah,
and they kind of gave a little bit of a pass to Godot's very wooden acting.
Yeah,
as being a very awkward woman who's out of her depth and experiencing things she's never experienced before, and
exactly
that kind of worked, but not so much everything else.
No, and yeah, she's also like gorgeous enough that you can be kind of distracted by that. But they're
right. Really good about finding people that look really, really dead on to the character.
yeah, they do.
It's like, but can they act? No.
That doesn't. No, we're not going to worry about that.
Yeah. Although I will say though, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with Ezra Miller.
No.
The Flash is a lot of things, but this weird non-binary creamy little twink is not one of them.
No.
And I think they probably just got him on for diversity points.
Yeah, I could not buy, and I didn't know about his sexuality or anything, but from the moment I first saw him, I could not buy that he liked women. Like, and I didn't know about, whatever it is
right.
he's into, but
he likes girls.
Yeah, apparently, but I couldn't, like, there's the scene in the Justice League movie where, I don't know, there's like a car accident and he like runs through, grabs a hot dog and saves a girl, and he immediately like falls for her for some reason. She's pretty, I guess. And I just didn't buy it. Like, I'm like, you don't like women. but I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the weirdest casting. I like, I think Ben Affleck gets really mistreated, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't think he's bad. Batman.
He wasn't the worst Batman. He was okay.
Yeah, he was okay. I mean,
he was not horrible, not great. Okay.
Yeah, he was fine. So like it, but I think that we all tend to hold Batman to a pretty high standard because he's usually the star of his own movies, and so we want, usually, like, look at the guys who have played Batman. Okay,
yeah, you have a tendency to like rank them.
Yeah, not George Clooney or Val Kilmer, but the other guys, even Adam West, right? But yeah, I mean, like, I guess I don't. So they're talking about this. Some people are getting excited about this. I think that, while I like I said before, I like Henry Cavill. I'd like to see him playing a real Superman and not whatever we got in Man of Steel 1. which is just awful in my opinion. Or the Batman v Superman. I know that there are people who like that movie. I just didn't. I think it was just like masturbatory, like I just want to see Batman win against Superman fanboy shit. And I think that's actually what even Zack Snyder has said, that like he has like a problem with Superman. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he's an alien and he's against immigration or something, but he seems to have an issue.
I
Zarex,
think it might be like oh god, like Garth Ennis's problem where he just pathologically hates ape shit superheroes.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, Garth Ennis. Yeah, I mean that might be true, but then why is he making a? I mean, okay, look, Snyder thinks that from some of the interviews I've seen where they've asked him questions about his movie, and he does make it's weird because he does make a lot of superhero movies, but he does seem to have a lot of resentment towards superheroes in general. Like he has something against them, but he makes movies about them. And what I mean by that is that he doesn't just like so the wokies, right? They like to first of all, they don't know what a superhero is because they don't know or even a hero is because they don't know what the heroism aspect is the most important part, not necessarily the power. But they only see the power. And then and then what they do is they basically take the power and then they crank it up to 11 because to them there's no difference between like the super strength of Thor and the super strength of Captain America. It's all super strength to them. It all means the same thing. And and they just give it to people who look like them. So they basically say, "Oh, we're going to make this guy this race, this gender, whatever, because I want to feel empowered because I'm a narcissist. I need to see myself in these things, right?" And it's really it's not even it's worse than childish because children they mostly don't need those things done for them. Like they generally like what they see. That's why, you have like black kids pretending to be Son Goku because they don't need Son Goku to be black. Um but Zack Snyder, he's like he's trying to convince us of something else. He's not one of these woke SJW types, but I think that he has this thing where he takes joy in tearing down our sacred cows, and or at least doing something to them. So like they asked him like, what about Batman essentially just like gunning people down in Batman v Superman? And he said, "Oh, Batman kills in my movies, like like that, like the all he kills because I don't give a shit about that. Superman kills too, right?" And he did, and Batman did, and of course Snyder thought this is just like a common sense thing that would any normal person would do. He has like this weird kind of objectivist view on how people should act, and it involves killing them if you have to, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. And the thing what that says is that like he's obviously doesn't understand that while it may not always make sense for Batman not to kill anyone or Superman not to kill anyone, it may not always make sense, but it's core to not just the character but what the characters symbolize. And he throws that out because he doesn't really care about that. He just thinks that this will make the movie better because it's like no one else is doing this shit that I'm doing. And he said that before. And I think that I think that in that way he doesn't seem like a good fit for this. Because you need someone who can like handle this a little bit a lot more delicately while still capturing the essence of what it is, and also respecting the intellectual property. And yeah, that means that you can't just do whatever you want, but like I think that if you can pull it off, you can make something that will actually like have some kind of staying power, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah. All right. So Zarinx gives us $5 and says, see my comments 1 and 2 in chat, and that girl that Ezra's flash saves is Iris, or alleged to be her. I'm not sure. Is Iris the Flash's love interest in the comics or something? Because I'm sorry, I didn't know. Did you tag me in a chat? Because you're saying see comments 1 and 2, and I'm not seeing it. I guess. Oh, I see it. Rumors are Ezra Miller's Flash was supposed to be the vehicle to start over with his ability to travel to other worlds. Miller guest starred on the Flash show as Barry Allen, so they can change actors and remove Ezra Miller and move on. Okay. Well, maybe they'll get the guy who played the Flash on the CW. I mean, I hear that that's a, popular show, so. And he's probably still young enough to play the character. All right, well, anyway. Do you have any final thoughts on this, Mr. Jay?
No, not really.
All right, so we're going to head into the patron-only show to talk with the patrons about this and these other things that we discussed. So if you guys want to join us, please consider becoming a badger by going to feedthebadger.com. $5 a month will get you into the Discord, and you'll be able to watch the additional content. And if you give it higher levels, you can even be a part of the conversation. The Nerdcast doesn't have like a really high bar for entry. It's kind of the lowest. So, you could probably just join us. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. If you like this video, please smash like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. And most importantly, please share this video. Because sharing is caring. All right. Thanks so much for coming on today's episode of the Nerdcast, and we will talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.